What's up, everyone? I'm Giovanni. Welcome back to another Cointelegraph live stream show. Today, I have the pleasure to be joined by Ian Martins, CEO of Hathor Labs, and Alex Nascimento, member of the blockchain faculty at the University of California and founder of 7cc Blockchain Investment. How are you doing, guys, today?
Excellent. Pleasure to be talking to you again, also with Professor Alex and all the audience.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. Thanks, Giovanni, for having us. Great to be here and fantastic to chat with everyone around the world listening to us.
Yeah, that's a pleasure. So just to introduce you guys. So for those who don't know, in a nutshell, Hathor is an open source blockchain architecture on which users can create their own token. And basically today, Hathor is launching a new initiative called Hathor.Green, an initiative to encourage the usage of renewable energy practices for Bitcoin mining. So before we start the conversation, I would like to remind our audience that this is an interactive live stream show. So please write your comments in the chat and I will ask our guests, especially considering that this is a very important topic because we are talking a lot about this Bitcoin renewable energy issue that Hathor is going to tackle and is explaining how today. So let's get into it. Ian, maybe you would like to just go a little bit more in details about what Hathor Network is.
Sure, thank you, Giovanni. As you said, we are an easy-to-use blockchain that at the moment it's super easy to issue your own token. We are based on the PhD work of our CTO, Dr. Marcelo. He proposed back in 2018 a new architecture for distributed ledger technologies, where there's a combination of a DAG of transactions and a traditional blockchain. So we do have blocks and we also do have mining. It's very important for us. We also use proof of work as consensus mechanism, the same as Bitcoin, which is why we're here to talk about a bit about mining and green mining. So yeah, I think in a nutshell, that's it.
Great. So now that people understand what Hathor Network is, now we can go into the actual initiative that you are launching today, which is Hathor.Green. So can you tell us a little bit about this initiative? How did you come up with it? And what is the goal of this initiative?
Sure, yeah. As much as I'd like to take credit for it, I cannot, because this is an idea of one of our closest advisors, Rod. So he's very much into mining, and with all this debate that's been going on with the energy use and the origin of the energy used, he proposed that we incentivize the miners that use renewable energy. Because I mean, I think we can go a bit into the debate of energy use in Bitcoin, but I think everyone can agree that using renewable energies for that is a good thing, despite if we think that the energy consumption is too high or not. But I think everyone can agree that green energy being used is a good thing. So he proposed that we incentivize miners for doing that. And what's the best way to do that if not giving them extra incentive? So that's the basic idea of Hathor.Green that we're launching today. It's, let's say, for these first couple months, it's a pilot. We also want to see what we're going to get in terms of adoption and understanding with the miners if this is an important thing. So basically, any miner that uses renewable energy to mine Hathor, and at the same time, since we support merged mining, they're going to be mining Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV. He'll be able to receive extra rewards in HTR or native token. So he's, in a sense, incentivized to a good behavior to using renewable energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're going to get deeper into this concept of merge mining a little bit later, because this is like crucial to make people understand what is the point of this initiative.
Yeah.
But first, I would like to ask Alex, what do you think of this idea of incentivizing miners to use renewable energy? Is it like the most viable option to solve Bitcoin's environmental problem, according to you?
Very good question, Giovanni. Thanks. I think that there is two things we're facing now in the world, right? We're coming to a global understanding that climate change is a major problem, and it should be at the front row seat of any kind of major government, agency, investor, corporation. It's definitely a problem where all humanity should be tackling. As Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are becoming more popular and certainly having a wider global adoption, that those two topics are converging, right? And then now we're trying to figure it out. How do we minimize the footprint of cryptocurrency mining and processing? And it's not only cryptocurrencies, it's kind of like any kind of a data center or any kind of large consumption of energy. So just a few data points. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read the recent Bank of America report on climate change and cryptocurrencies. We're getting an increase of about 40 million tons of carbon emissions in the last 2 years. That's about almost 9 million cars on the road, equivalent to, right? If you would look at Bitcoin mining, that energy consumes more than the countries of Greece, Chile, or Czech Republic. So that's a problem we as an industry are trying to tackle. And the program of Hathor.Green is one of the greatest initiatives in this space that I have seen so far. As an investment firm, we're taking a very close look on how we can work with ESG funds to allocate funds into the space. And ESG is projected to go to over $50 trillion in the next 4 years. So a lot of money, a lot of incentives are looking at the space, and I think Hathor.Green is a good bridge to bridge that kind of interest, that kind of incentive into our industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those are all very good points. I'm just seeing that we have a question from the audience. It's not exactly directly related to the Hathor.Green initiative. It's more about the future plans of Hathor Network. So what are the next plans for Hathor Network? Ian, maybe you can just quickly remind your audience about the next milestones that your project hope to achieve.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we do have our roadmap, and we have a Medium post detailing it. Also, we're coming to around on Q2, so we'll probably update it and all the community about the next steps. I think one of the most sought after features, and I also see there's a question about it, it's the contract, which is coming up. Also, since there's been a lot of interest in NFTs, it's one of the things that we kind of fast tracked. And yesterday we did announce a major partnership for NFTs here in Brazil, which is also an interesting topic for us to talk about, because one of the first questions that this artist, which is like a really well-known global influencer with over 40 million YouTube subscribers, one of the first topics he asked was, what about energy use? You know, so I believe all the projects and companies looking to build on top of networks, any blockchain, they're going to be mindful of that. So I think that makes it even more interesting and pressing for us to address all these issues as Professor Alex just outlined.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So I think now we are ready to get a bit more understanding of what merge mining means. So the Hathor network offers this feature, which is merge mining, which in a nutshell, as far as I understand, allows Bitcoin miners to mine both two different coins, one Bitcoin and the Hathor network coin. So can you explain, Ian, what is the point? What is the advantage for miners to practice this merge mining activity, and how that is key in order to make this Hathor.Green initiative function?
Yeah, sure. Merge mining is an interesting concept. I believe it was Satoshi himself who on Bitcoin Talk post back in 2010 talked about the possibility of chains sharing the hash rate. So as you said, it's pretty spot on. It allows Bitcoin miners, actually miners of any coin that uses, in our case, SHA-256, to mine at the same time Bitcoin or maybe Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin SV, and also HCR, which is our coin. So they're going to be using the same work to mine both coins. They don't have any extra costs. This is already something important to understand in the green perspective, because in a sense, for mining HCR, you are not using extra energy. So it's already a very green chain if you take this perspective, because there's no extra energy used. So on top of that, we want to have this program, the Hathor.Green program, to incentivize the miners as well. But in the very basis of it is already a very green and ESG compliance network itself by using merge mining.
Mm-hmm. And I'm actually curious, is it possible to do this merge mining with more than just 2 coins? Is it possible, like, for example, to merge simultaneously 3, 4, 5 different coins, or it just works with 2?
No, it does. It's possible to mine multiple coins at the same time. I mean, as long as one of the coins supported. So in our case, we support merge mining. So you can merge mine HCR with, let's say, Bitcoin. But if you have other coins that also support merge mining, so you could mine Bitcoin, HCR, and these other coins. So it's really good because the same work is being used to secure all these networks, right? And for proof of work chains, that's the most important thing, that this work is being used to secure these chains. And also, to answer your first questions about what's the benefit for us for using it, it allows us to gain a very high hash rate very quickly, because we are kind of tapping into the hash rate of the Bitcoin network, which is the most secure one. So I mean that was the main idea that we wanted to achieve when we decided to move forward with merge mining. Since we are proof of work chain, security and the hash rate it's fundamental. So achieving a high hash rate is super important.
Okay. So for the audience, I think that it's worth to simplify this system. As far as I understand, basically, if you are a Bitcoin miner, you might want to tap into your project, start mining the Hathor network token as well with this merged mining procedure, prove you that as a Bitcoin miner, I'm using renewable energies, and once I prove it to you, I get rewards with the Hathor network token, and that's basically the incentive that you are providing.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, on top of the HCR that you're going to be mining, we're also going to provide extra HCR for those who can prove they use renewable energy, green energy. And I saw there was one question here about if you do merge mining, you would return on BTC or HCR would be any less. No, you don't have any performance impact by use merge mining. So your BTC rewards would be the same, and HCR also would be the same as if you're doing solo mining.
Yeah, awesome. That was a good point. That was a good question to ask. So maybe, Alex, what do you think about this system of incentives for miners? Do you think that it can be a viable solution to tackle this environmental problem of Bitcoin? Oh, I think he.
Sorry, I think I was muted. No, I think it's essential, right? There's a lot of press, negative press. There's a lot of noise against Bitcoin mining. If we look from an economical perspective, Bitcoin averages half of the entire industry as market cap. I think that a lot of people, although they don't realize it, think that Bitcoin is dirty or dirt energy. Majority of Bitcoin is mined with hydro, which is already renewable. There's a lot of efforts of mining Bitcoin with natural gas and other forms of solar energy, wind, and so forth. So I think that naturally there's a lot of bad press around mining Bitcoin, which hurts the industry, devalues the value of the currency. And if you have projects like the Hathor.Green that incentivize and validate these miners to prove to the world that they're doing the right thing, that they're using renewable energy, that only validates the thesis of Bitcoin being this decentralized form of improving access to financial freedom to the wider audience in the world. So I think it's a very clever and elegant solution to minimize this bad PR we're getting that not necessarily has been proven wrong in the global media.
Sure, for sure. I think that a lot of that bad press coverage comes specifically for the reason that a lot of people don't see the value of Bitcoin, and therefore they just see the energy consumption of it. We have an interesting question from the audience now. So if our mining rigs are not yet set up, can we still participate in the Hathor.Green project? That's for you, Jan.
Yeah, sure. I'll also talk a bit more about the process. So far it's pretty straightforward. You can go to our website, Hathor.Green, and check out the project. And also there is an application form that you can fill out. So a pretty straightforward application process. As I said, this is kind of like a pilot for us. We're also gonna learn a lot about it and improve this project in the next few months. So this is the way that miners can apply. And to answer the other questions, you definitely can apply as soon as your mining rigs are set up. You know, we envision to have the first batch of applications open until July. But if you're going to be mining and you do use renewable energies, you can just get in touch with us, and we'll make sure that you are properly rewarded, because in the end, that's what we want, right? So even though we're kind of expecting to close applications in July, you can get in touch with us, and we'll make sure to include you in the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. So exactly like how people could apply to this program.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You know, just a simple form on the website. In the future, as we learn from this first experience, we might improve it, change it a bit. Depending on the number of applications, we might need to make things more automated. But right now, it's just a simple form that you have to fill out. We'll be also getting some help from our friends in F2Pool to do some of the processing. And but yeah, pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
and it's very interesting what Jan is doing, because just wanted to point this out. We've been looking at investing in green Bitcoin mining for a long time. We've got a few products in the pipeline. It is one of the major challenges in this industry is the methodology behind validating a green or renewable or Bitcoin that was mined with renewable energy. So that's one of the reasons we're very interested as an investment firm in the Hathor.Green project, because of the methodology that they're putting together.
Mm-hmm. So we have another question from the audience. El Milan is new in the conversation. She is asking, what is Hathor.Green? Have I missed something? So maybe Ian can just in a nutshell resume what Hathor.Green is about, just to sum up.
Yeah, sure. Let's just recap a bit. Just it's this initiative from Hathor Network to incentivize miners who are using green renewable energy for mining Hathor, and also, since we use merge mining, they're going to likely be also mining Bitcoin or other coins. So any miners who use renewables, they can apply to the program. We're going to validate their application. And if they are using renewable energy sources, they're going to get an extra reward in HDR every month, kind of trying to incentivize the good behavior in the mining industry.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Ian. So yeah, if anyone in the chat is actually a miner, can just check out Hathor's website and see how this initiative works. And if you care about making your mining sources cleaner, that could be a solution. So
yeah,
we have
the website is Hathor.Green.
Right. So we have another question from the audience regarding the mining, basically source of energy. So with most of the mining hash power still coming from China, how do we see the transition to the green initiative look like, and how long might that take? I guess that's more a question for you, Alex.
Sure, I can try to tackle that question. So it's important to understand that, yes, a good portion of Bitcoin is being mined in China. Every day that's becoming less and less. There is a current trend of Chinese miners looking for other solutions or other places to mine around the world. And then within China, if you do your research, you will understand that the top tier miners are already mining with hydro, right? And that's a lot of the associations that were now in China in the rainy season. There's a good portion of them, which is not the majority, that still mines with coal and other forms of non-renewable energies. But China as a government is really coming down on that kind of use of energy for Bitcoin, which probably is one of the reasons why we've been seeing this bad press surrounding Chinese Bitcoin miners. If you go around the world and you look at renewable energies, they're very competitive on the pricing. You talk about gas, you talk about hydro, mixes of renewables. They're becoming very, very competitive with the kilowatt hour costs of running a competitive mining rig. So if the question is, how do we see the transition from green initiatives and how long it might take, I think we're going to see a large portion of the Bitcoin network being mined with renewable energies in the next 3 to 4 years. And that's one of our key focuses as an investment firm.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And
could
that's
I add something to that, Giovanni?
Sorry, Ian, what did you say?
Yeah, if I could add something to that, I also think there's a lot of the initiative has to come also from the market side. So if people and institutions they make this a priority and they put a premium on it, it's definitely gonna make this transition faster. So if we have like a premium on Bitcoin being mined on renewable energy, definitely we're gonna see more miners switching to this energy sources. So I think there's also a lot of people demanding for it, but there's going to be an economic incentive also towards it. Companies that are going to require only build their projects on green chains, let's say like that. So I think there's a lot of the market demand that's going to push this this transition.
Yeah, and Jan is completely right? You have like about $50 trillion coming into the ESG market. A lot of that is pushed by the Biden administration, and that money is looking to allocate in green chains. That money is looking to allocate to miners that can offset their carbon emissions. It's just a demand and supply condition of the current market.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we have another question from the audience, which is regarding the token that is available on for mining on Hathor network. So are the tokens available for purchase? Asked the source. Maybe
yeah, sure. We are available on multiple exchanges: KuCoin, Ascendex, CoinMetro, Qtrade. I also see there are some questions about extra listings. Of course, this is something that we're always looking for, but can't comment a lot on it.
Okay, cool. So now I think that it's time to welcome another guest to the conversation. Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Hello. Good.
So for those who don't know, this is Daniel Hwang, a representative of F2Pool and Stakefish mining pool service provider, who is going to give us some perspective from the point of view of a mining pool service provider, how the system offered by Hathor can actually be implemented. So, Daniel, as far as I understand, the mining pool you work for is the first one that actually implemented the Hathor.Green initiative. Is it correct?
Yeah, I believe so. And I guess Jan can confirm that as well.
Yeah, that's correct. We'll be working with F2Pool to get more information and validate everything, so we can determine the origin sources and where the miners are located, and kind of cross-check a lot of this information to determine the energy being used.
Okay, so if I well understand, the miners working for your mining pool, Daniel, are already providing Ian and his company some proof that they are actually using renewable energies.
I don't believe so yet, but I think that audit process should be rolling out with the Hathor team.
Yeah, as I said, we are starting the applications today, so any miner can go to our website, Hathor.Green, and start this process, and then we're going to be working with F2Pool to get more insights into it, kind of validate the application, cross-check it with, let's say, multiple sources of information to make sure we can kind of be sure that the miner is actually where he is and using the energy sources he claims. So yeah, this process is going to be starting today, and we are happy to have the support from F2Pool to help us in that.
I do want to say that it is completely voluntary on behalf of the miners and mining farms who do elect to kind of prove their renewable energy sourcing.
Yeah, actually, I'm very curious to know your perspective, Daniel. Like, how do miners that are working for your mining pools view this initiative that launched by Ian? So, what's your thoughts on this system of incentives?
Yeah, I can't speak for miners or mining farms, and just to quickly clarify, like, the miners and mining farms don't work for us; they're just clients of ours. As F2Pool is a service provider that just kind of provides hash rate aggregation to find blocks together with the miners. But I think in general, the value of sort of the ethos that Hathor has proposed with their Hathor.Green program is quite important in incentivizing this type of good behavior, where good behavior is the reliance and perhaps even transition or switch to renewable energy. I think a good analogy is kind of how we've seen the Bitcoin networks and the values and the properties of decentralized consensus be secured by miners and node operators. Right, it's essentially a side effect that of the main motivator that miners have for profit. And so in this case, since Hathor.Green is providing incentivization for miners, right, that's additional profit in their pockets, to go about perhaps attesting that they are using renewable energy, and if the profit is high enough that there may be potential switching from alternate non-renewable energy sources to renewable energy sources, and that I think is a good net benefit. And I think that at least from the perspective of F2Pool and other blockchain infrastructure service providers, right, that's something that we can back, right? It's a win-win scenario where, right, everyone kind of eats, and then the outcomes are positive in terms of the climate stewardship and ESG goals and motivations. So.
Yeah, I think that's very important to achieve as a goal. And I see that our audience is very excited about this topic. We have a lot of involvement, a lot of questions. Next question is the following. We have a very interesting question here. So, is Hathor.Green for large mining companies, or is it also for, let's say, an individual who's mining but can prove it run off of solar panels they have installed on their house?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's for us, as long as you're using green energy, you are eligible for this initiative. So it's really nice to see you have individuals who are mining and especially using green energy on their house. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. So you don't need to be plugged into one of these large pools to participate. That's great. So now I would like to ask you, I would like to ask Alex a question regarding the usage of renewable energies for mining Bitcoin. A lot of critics say that one negative aspect of renewable energies is that it's not as constant as non-renewables. And that is a major point why it's so difficult to convince miners to switch to renewables, because they cannot keep, for example, mining rigs that work on solar power switched on all day long, because there is no solar power available all day long. So how do you see this problematic, Alex?
That's a very good question, Giovanni, because, for example, we're creating a fund to invest in Bitcoins that are mined via renewable energy or that are offset by carbon credits, right? And we're rolling that out in the next couple of months. So we've been looking very closely to that, and that's one of the reasons why we're very excited with the Hathor.Green project. But one thing is important to note, right? That is part of the bad press that it's being generated, and it's part about the noise that it's being generated. You're right, and the general press is right to point out that if you're running your Bitcoin farm only on solar naturally or on average has a 20% efficiency. So if you have 100 megawatts of solar power, you're going to get about 20 megawatts on average via the course of time, right? But what people forget about is that other forms of renewable energy are not in that category of a 20% efficiency rate. One of them, which is the major source of mining Bitcoin, is hydro. Another one that has very high efficiency rates is natural gas. So yes, you can do a mix. You can mine with solar, you can mine with wind, and if you can baseline that with other renewable energy sources that are more constant at their production rate, such as natural gas or hydro, you will be able to achieve 100% capacity or 100% output of your energy input over the course of time. So just wanted to point out that there's a lot of negative press in the space, and that's why it's important for the audience and for ESG investors to investigate, research, and do their own due diligence to understand that mining cryptocurrencies via renewable energy is a very viable solution. And I agree with Jan. I think it's a solution that deserves a premium.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually the information that we are trying to convey to our audience. So we have a question from the audience about this premium. So how do you structure that premium? Would it be carbon credits? That's a question for you, Ian, about how this premium is going to be structured.
In our case, what we're going to do is whatever you mine on our network by using renewable energies, you're going to get a percentage extra at the end of each month. So in the beginning, we're going to start with 10%. So let's say if you mine 10,000 coins a month, in the end of the month, we're going to reward you with an extra 10%, so 1,000 coins in that sense. So, but I think in the premium also, in the sense that we're talking about Bitcoin, and also Professor Alex was talking about, I think it's kind of market forces, right? The market's going to say how much extra people are gonna pay for a green Bitcoin, let's call it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. And now we have another question, which is more related to the partnership between Hathor and the F2Pool. So maybe that's something that Daniel can answer. So what is the nature of the partnership between you two guys?
Yeah, partnership, collaboration. I think we're definitely excited to support any initiatives that it is promoting this sort of climate stewardship. So Hathor has already, for some time been providing merge mining for F2Pool. So our miners that mine Bitcoin do get merge mining rewards through Hathor tokens, but also in addition to this Hathor.Green program, you'll get the additional bonus rewards as well. So it's definitely we right. So F2Pool and Stakefish has been part of like the blockchain infrastructure carbon working group that has been investigating and designing better solutions to climate stewardship. And so, right, it's just our support. I think the method by which this type of switch to renewables or reliance on renewables or benefit from renewables is the right approach. So.
Okay. Now, Omar SY is asking, what are the benefits of the Hathor network for and better than other chain besides the aspect of using green energy, UBD, where do you see the price? I guess the main point here is what's the benefit of Hathor network besides the aspect of using green energy? So what are the other strong points of the network? Jan.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I believe we do have an architecture that enables us to scale on layer one level more than traditional blockchains in the space. That's kind of how we started. And also one of the main aspects that we're looking to achieve is making it a easy to use blockchain. So you don't need to be a specialist. Anyone that knows a bit of coding can use us. There's no solidity, there's no gas fees. We have fast and free transactions. So this is for us the way we envision that we're going to make blockchain technologies available to the broader public and companies. So it's easy to use. I mean, a lot of our advisors and people use the analogy of doing what like WordPress did for the web. It enabled a larger amount of people to come into and create their own websites and just experience and have an online presence. We also want to do the same thing. We want to be easy to use at the level that most companies and people can create their own blockchain-based projects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And actually, I have a question now regarding the Hathor.Green initiative, because this is, of course, a very admirable initiative that has a very admirable goal. But what I was wondering is the scalability of this initiative. So can this Hathor.Green model be kind of used as imitated or taken as a model by other blockchains in order to maximize its impact on this environmental problem of Bitcoin? And maybe Jan can give us your thought about this scalability of the initiative.
Yeah, I mean, I sure hope so. As I said, this is kind of like a pilot program. We're going to learn a lot from it, improve it. So, and I think this kind of inspiration thing that you said is important. So I do hope that we see other projects also adopting more these initiatives. And I think that depends a lot on the market response to it. So we do get a lot of miners interested, and then people see there's value in it, definitely we're going to see more of this in this space.
Alex, what are your thoughts about the scalability of this merged mining solution that Hathor is providing to tackle the Bitcoin's environmental problem? Do you see it something scalable?
For sure, and I think it's an add-on, right? So if you look at Bitcoin over the recent years, it went from its original purpose of being a peer-to-peer payment system to being a store of value. And there's a lot of discussions of like how Bitcoin has become this very innovative approach on how you can store your inputs of energy or your investments in energy, right? Because like Michael Saylor says, if I generate 100 megawatts of energy via my very expensive CapEx hydro plant, and I don't utilize that 100 megawatts, it's gone, right? There is no way for me to get it back. But if you can store the value of it in a Bitcoin, that has become one of the greatest innovations in the energy space in the last couple of years. But as we all know, Bitcoin is not a protocol that it's suited for high transaction output. You can't compare Visa and MasterCard and Amex and all these other forms of transaction cashless payments with Bitcoin. It's just not there, right? So we need solutions like Hathor that are going to provide that additional layer to make very fast throughput transactions. And being it on a green chain, on a chain that requires less energy, I think it's a benefit for both sides of the industry, not only for the people that are Bitcoin maximists and want to use Bitcoin as a store of value, but also as users who want to use the Bitcoin network for daily transactions of payments and cash transactions, smart contracts, and other innovative forms of blockchain technology. So I think it's an add-on and a good pair.
Okay, thanks, Alex. So now I would like to ask. Ask if there is any risk involved in this merged mining practice. Maybe Daniel, since he's the representative of mining pool provider, can answer this question. Then maybe Jan can also tell us what's his view. Is there any risk involved in this practice?
Maybe if you could clarify where risk on whose behalf?
Because as far as I heard, there is some sort of risk when you simultaneously mine two separate coins, because there is a higher risk of 51% attack, since the miners don't have the miners are somehow facilitated in a possible 51% attack on the network.
So yeah, I think with maybe the answer is much simpler than we might expect, but right, obviously a network would benefit from having its own set of node operators and miners that doesn't have to be merge mined. So It's probably just as simple as that.
Jan, do you have any thoughts on that? Because I read that part on your website.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, since the miners are getting the rewards extra at the same time as they're mining Bitcoin, definitely there are some incentives, and less penalties for them. Let's put it like that. But I mean, from our perspective, the goal is always increasing the hash rate, having it distributed. So the more miners we get, the harder it's going to become for people to do this kind of attack. And I mean, so far, even on larger merge mine coins, we haven't seen any kind of behavior like that from the miners, especially when we partner with institutions such as F2Pool. We see that this risk decreases a lot because they would be the ones that have to conduct this sort of attack in the sense of trying to do a 51%. So I think that the risk is greatly reduced by doing this kind of high level partnerships and having good relationships with the miner.
Okay. Now I have other questions from the audience. So this is about the latest news that we heard a couple of days ago. So with El Salvador's news that came out yesterday about mining using geothermal energy to mine Bitcoin, have you guys thought about approaching them about merged mining Hathor?
Definitely, it's a good idea. We're always looking for more miners, but in the end, it's a decision that the miners have to take. But yeah, the more miners that we have, as I just said, the better for the network and the security. So we are going to try and talk to all miners possible and get them to also merge mine Hathor.
Okay, cool. So we have a lot of questions from the audience. I'm very pleased to see so much participation. Guys, don't hesitate to ask some more questions. We have some more time to ask them. So this is something about the structure, the organization of Hathor. So Omar SY is asking, how are you planning to decentralize the Hathor network from Hathor Labs? If that's
sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, like as of today, the network is 100% open and decentralized. So for us, we always love the Bitcoin philosophy that anyone can run a node and validate the transactions. This is also something important that the miners can do and try and reverse transactions, but as long as kind of you have like your own full node that's following the rules, you could not follow what the miners are trying to do. So for us, having this decentralization of being able to run a full node yourself, I could run a full node, anyone, you don't need specialized hardware. This in itself is already a decentralized network. Obviously, I understand that at this moment, Hathor Labs is the main developer of the protocol and has a large impact on the decisions. But this is something that gradually we're looking forward to more companies building on it and also contributing to the protocol. So our code is on GitHub. It's open source. Anyone can create a pull request there. The team is going to analyze it. And the more companies building it, the better. I'd love to see like 5, 10, 20 companies developing products, solutions, and also contributing to the protocol development. I think it's kind of our dream, the moment that we actually don't need the Hathor Labs to be kind of the steward of the protocol, to have it kind of completely decentralized as it happens with Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think that a lot of our viewers are looking forward to a version, to a world where we have these decentralized open source protocols that are also environmentally friendly. So that's a great goal to have. But now I would like to ask you, we saw not long ago that a mining initiative was launched by Elon Musk and Michael Saylor. It's an initiative aimed at making Bitcoin more environmentally friendly, and it's called the Bitcoin Mining Council. I was curious to know if you have any plans, or if you have any plans to kind of collaborate with this initiative.
I think any initiative in this area is very good. In regards to collaboration, I don't know, maybe in the future, being very honest, in the short term, I'm not sure, but it would be a good thing. It's not like we're close to it or we have any objections, but maybe it's gonna happen. I don't know.
Maybe Alex can give us a couple of his views on this initiative, if he thinks that is something that can be somehow compatible with what Jan is trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think that in general, it's driven by market demands, right, and market dynamics. Like I was mentioning, we're projected to see like a 10-fold increase on ESG investments in the next 3 to 5 years. And obviously, Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, and some of the other whales in the space are looking to capture that. And not only to capture that, but to try to solve our global climate change problem is a win-win scenario for everyone, not only in the blockchain industry, but just in the planet. So I foresee that we're going to see more and more initiatives like the Bitcoin Mining Council, and I welcome projects like Jan's projects and other projects out there to join forces and try to come together into innovative solutions that address those two key points, right? One is the demand for cleaner energy solutions, and the other one is how do we supply that demand? And projects like Hathor.Green are trying to solve that supply question. So my forecast is that we're going to continue to see a growth in efforts coming from investors and other organizations like the Bitcoin Mining Council. And most likely, we're going to see a growth in solutions like Hathor.Green.
Okay, great. So I think that now we can start wrapping things up. We have one more. We can ask one more question from the audience, and then some final remarks. So we have Emperor Mitensify, who is asking, what are your Q2 2021 targets, and are you on track to accomplish them? Ian.
Yeah, sure. I have to remember now all what we had on the roadmap for Q2. I believe, as I said before, nano contracts are the most awaited feature that we are working on them right now. Also, as I mentioned before, we decided to fast track a bit the NFT features and supports, because it's just such a sought after topic for this. So it was in Q3 or Q4, I'm not sure, but we already have some initiatives in this area popping up. Also, if I'm not mistaken, the Explorer redesign that we had, it's already underway, starting with extra functionality. I'd say that a new redesign in the UI, it's going to take a bit longer, but we're already adding new features and improving the service. Those are the main ones. Well, also on the business side, partnerships with consultancies and software houses that could build on Hathor Network is on track. We're already in touch with several of them. Yeah, I believe these are kind of the main ones that I can remember on the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. We'll be closely monitoring the progress of your project throughout this year. So now I would like to give you the opportunity to make some final remarks. If you think the audience needs to know something more, maybe starting from Daniel, if you want to make some final remarks.
Yeah, I just want to say that Like the fact that Hathor is promoting and is at the network level supporting ESG goals, I think is wonderful, and I think that's why we at F2Pool definitely wanted to share and support this initiative.
Okay, Alex, some final thoughts?
Yeah, sure. To add to Daniel's point, as a firm, we're looking very closely, like I mentioned, to opportunities to share with our investors funds and other investment vehicles that invest in opportunities like Hathor.Green and other Bitcoin investment vehicles that mitigate the footprint of carbon emissions. So we're very glad to continue partnering and supporting Hathor.Green and this effort because, like I mentioned, I think it's a win-win not only for the blockchain industry, but for humanity in general.
Great. Jan, do you want to add something else?
Yeah, I just want to say that, well, first, thank you, Alex, Daniel, and you for hosting us. But also that I really do hope that this project, well, not only is successful in the sense that we do get a lot of miners applying, and hopefully someday we can have 100% of ACR mining based on renewable energies, but also this could kind of spark some sort of inspiration in other projects to also adopt some initiatives like this. Definitely there's demand, as Professor Alex said. It's something that it's going to benefit everyone. So hopefully this can be kind of an inspiration for more projects to come like this.
Yeah, I actually really hope that a lot of other projects will follow your example, because this is a very important target to achieve, getting Bitcoin completely on renewables. So for those who are watching, don't forget to check out the website of Hathor.Green, which is green.hathor.network, and check out the very interesting system of incentives that Jan has prepared for incentivizing miners to use renewable energies. So thanks a lot for watching, everyone. It was a great conversation. I'm Giovanni, your host.